Welcome, everyone. We are so glad you're with us. Tonight, we're going on a journey, not just looking up at the night sky, but actually peeling back the fabric of reality itself. We're going to reveal this hidden, living architecture that underpins everything. It's a system that is constantly monitoring, processing, and yes, reacting to every single thing we do. And this isn't some futuristic sci-fi concept. This is the deep, profound cosmology of the Zohar.
Right. And the Zohar, it almost always starts with this classic invitation, Ta Chazi, which means come and see. But it's so much more than a simple invitation to look. It's a call to perceive. It's asking us to fundamentally shift our vision, to move from seeing just the physical world to understanding the spiritual reality behind it. To see the universe not as a bunch of dead rocks floating in space, but as a single, conscious, and deeply interconnected being. It's basically an invitation to see the operating system running behind the simulation.
Okay, so here's the roadmap for our journey tonight. First, we're going to start with this big, beautiful idea of a living cosmos. Then, we'll zoom right into its secret network, what we're calling Heaven's operating system. From there, we'll follow the path of a single human action as it travels up through this system. We'll even meet the unseen watchers who patrol its pathways. And then, finally, we'll get practical and talk about how we can consciously and skillfully play this cosmic game.
So I want you to do something. Picture yourself looking up at a perfectly clear night sky. But instead of seeing just cold, dark, empty space, you start to perceive something else. You see a vast, living organism. You see this great, shimmering band arcing across the entire heavens, like a celestial river of light. And no, this isn't just the Milky Way. In the mystical vision of the Kabbalists, especially as explained by the great Gaon of Vilna, this is the Tanin, the great celestial dragon or serpent. It's the very backbone of the firmament. And all the constellations, they're strung along it like cosmic jewels.
Exactly. And this celestial serpent has a name, the Chevali. Now, it has two really important aspects. First, it's the Nakhash Akalaton, which means the twisting, crooked serpent. This is the one that encircles all of reality, its tail literally in its mouth, defining the very boundaries of creation. But at the same time, it's also the Nakhash Barya, the straight, piercing serpent. This is the central axis, maybe like the pole star, that everything else revolves around. So think about that. It's both the perimeter and the core. It's the superhighway and the fundamental structure that the Mazalot, the constellations, are fixed upon, and it's through this Chevali that all divine energy flows.
But here's where it gets really mind-blowing. This beautiful, poetic image of a serpent winding through the stars, it's not just a myth, it's a profound metaphor for a functional operational system. So for a minute, I want you to stop thinking of it as a giant reptile and start thinking of it as a vast celestial network infrastructure. This is Heaven's hidden operating system.
And what is so incredible, what's really interesting about this, is just how perfectly this ancient mystical framework maps onto the language of modern technology. It's uncanny. The celestial pathways of the Tele, that's your network infrastructure. The constellations, the Mazalot, those are like massive servers or network nodes, each one processing and transmitting divine influence. And our actions, our words, even our thoughts, they are quite literally data packets being uploaded from our world into this cosmic system. The Makatragim, these celestial accusers we'll talk more about, they function just like logging agents or an intrusion detection system, constantly scanning for and flagging corrupt data. And Kedusha, holiness or sanctity, that is the ultimate encrypted, verified protocol that ensures a clean, direct, and secure transmission. This isn't just poetry, it's a blueprint. So let's follow one of those data packets. What actually happens? Well, every single choice you make, every word you speak, it kicks off a process. It leaves your local terminal, that's us, here in the physical world, and it begins this incredible ascent through the network layers of the spiritual worlds. It travels along the pathways of that celestial serpent to be processed, to be judged, and eventually to be returned with a consequence.
And this brilliantly illustrates that exact pathway. Look, it starts in Malkut, the kingdom, which is our physical reality. You can think of it as the user interface. From there, the spiritual signature of that action is transmitted up through Yesod, the foundation, which acts like the system's main data uplink. Then it hits the big leagues. It reaches the channels of Hod and Gevora, splendor and severity. This is where the heavy-duty scrutiny happens. This is the system's firewall and its judgment processors inspecting the data pocket. And based on that inspection, a result, a consequence, flows back down, and, this is key, it doesn't just affect the person who sent it. it affects the integrity of the entire network.
Now, here's a crucial point. Each of these Sefirot doesn't just have a function, it has an energetic signature. And the Kabbalists, like in the Pardes Ramonim, describe these using the language of color. Now, we're not talking about literal pigments here. Gevura, for instance, the firewall of strict judgment, is symbolized by red, the color of severe law. On the other hand, Hesed, the channel of mercy and grace, is pure white or silver. Had, which is all about fine-tuned scrutiny, is a mix. It's described as white that leans towards red, which tells you its default is to judge. Yesod, the uplink, contains all the colors, like a brilliant sapphire, because it transmits all data, good and bad. And Malkut, our world, is sometimes seen as black, because it's the recipient of all these energies. So the colors really represent the quality of the divine flow your actions are about to trigger. Of course, every network needs its administrators, right? It needs security agents. And the cosmic system is no different. It is absolutely teeming with unseen forces, watchers, overseers, officers, whose entire job is to monitor the data flow, record our actions, and execute the judgments that the system determines. They are the silent, always-on, ever-present agents of cosmic law.
These beings are called the Einei Hashem, which literally means the eyes of the Lord, and they're described as constantly roaming throughout the earth. They are the Meketrigim, the accusers, who collect the logs of our negative actions and present them as evidence in the heavenly court. They are also the Shotrim, the officers, who enforce the consequences. And the thing is, they operate in total silence, like a cosmic surveillance system that you never even know is there. The sources actually describe them as the universe's immune system, flagging and quarantining any spiritual impurity, any corrupt data packet that could threaten the health of the whole system.
So when you boil it all down, every single action you take activates one of two primary cosmic channels. An action that comes from a place of selfishness or negativity or impurity, that opens the red channel of Din, which means strict judgment. That pathway is harsh, it's unforgiving, and it always leads to a consequence. But an action done with pure intention, with sanctity, with kindness, that opens the beautiful white channel of Chesed, or loving kindness. That's a pathway of grace, of blessing, and unimpeded flow right from the divine source. And the choice is always yours. You are the one who decides which channel to open.
Right. And the Zohar makes this connection, well, frankly, it's terrifyingly direct. It's not just that your actions are judged somewhere up there in the abstract. The Zohar says that when you perform a crooked or impure deed down here, you don't just send a bad signal up the wire. You actively pull down upon yourself a corresponding other spirit, a ruach acher, from the side of impurity. Your actions are literally creating the spiritual atmosphere you live in. You are inviting either sanctity or its opposite to come and rest upon you. Now look, we know these mechanics can feel incredibly abstract, maybe even a little overwhelming. So to really make this tangible and personal, we're going to look at this whole system through two different analogies. Think of it as one version that's like a video game and another for all the engineers out there. Okay, so first up, the video game version. This is for the younger souls, or maybe just the gamers at heart. I want you to imagine your entire life is one massive, real-time cosmic stealth game. And the universe, that's the game map.
So in this game, you're a player, and you're navigating this giant celestial map laid out across the firmament. Every good deed you do, every mitzvah, it opens up a glowing white path of chesed. These are the safe routes, totally clear of obstacles. But every negative action, every slip-up, it lights you up on the radar of the watchers. It makes you visible to these red-eyed agents who are constantly patrolling the dark, shadowy paths of din. They are drawn to impurity like moths to a flame. So the whole point of the game is to skillfully navigate the paths of light, complete your missions, and avoid drawing the attention, the aggro, of these accusers. And your ultimate tool, your best power-up? It's Kedusha, sanctity. It literally acts as your invisibility cloak, shielding you from their sight.
Okay, now for the adults in the room, or at least the more technically minded. Let's switch from gaming to engineering. Forget being a player for a second. Now you are a user, or maybe even a co-architect, interacting with a divine distributed operating system. And every one of your actions is a line of code being executed in real time.
And the precision of this analogy is it's striking. An impure act, what we call a sin, is essentially an unverified, corrupt process. It's a bug in the code. It immediately triggers the system's anomaly detection protocols and its main firewall. That's the Sephirot of Dain. It creates a negative entry in the cosmic audit log and actually routes divine energy and resources to the klippot, the shells of impurity, which effectively feeds the other side. But a sanctified act, a mitzvah,
is totally different. It's like a clean, cryptographically signed, verified execution. It's granted root access to system resources. It doesn't just bypass the firewall. It actively strengthens the integrity of the entire network. And it travels a clean, direct, unhindered channel of pure blessing.
And this all brings us back to the ultimate spiritual technology in this entire system, Kedusha, or sanctity. You see, in this cosmic operating system, Kedusha isn't just some vague moral quality. It is a functional state of being. It's the highest form of spiritual encryption you can apply to your actions, and it ensures they bypass all the lower-level scrutiny and go straight to the source. And this quote from the Gates of Holiness just illustrates the goal so perfectly. It says that for someone to truly be purified, all of their spiritual levels must become like white glass, zechusit levana, utterly transparent, clean from all the dross and residue of negativity. Think about that. When your actions, your intentions, and your very being achieve this level of purity, you become transparent to the system's lower-level logging agents. The Makatragim literally cannot see you. Your data packets are so pure they fly right past the firewalls of Den and travel completely unhindered to the very source of everything.
Ultimately, this entire incredible system is built upon this vast and intricate foundation. The ancient Sefer Yetzirah, the Book of Formation, talks about 32 wondrous paths of wisdom. These are the fundamental channels. You can think of them as the fiber optic cables of the cosmos, and it's through them that all divine energy and consciousness flows to sustain existence. So every single choice we make, every packet we send up doesn't just affect us, it has a real structural impact on the quality and the flow of energy through these 32 pathways. We are either clarifying them or we are clogging them with spiritual static.
So we've journeyed through the cosmos. We've gone from the great celestial serpent all the way down to the inner workings of our own choices. And really, it all comes down to this one simple yet incredibly profound reality. The system is live. The watchers are always present. And every single moment is a choice. So as you go into your week, this is the question to hold on to. Knowing that every action is an upload, which channel will you choose to open? Will it be the red path of judgment or the white path of mercy?
Thank you for joining us for this complete journey through the Pardes, that mystical orchard of hidden knowledge. We really hope these ancient truths help you and your family improve your own dimensions this week and navigate your own paths with a little more awareness and intention.
And if you enjoyed this full chapter deep dive, please do us a favor and like, subscribe, and share. And let us know in the comments which part of this journey really touched your soul. We read every one. We'll see you in the next chapter.